Okay, so we was talking about betrayal and the reason
Yes.
why I can't suffer the human being because they are a despicable deception for the vast majority. The vast majority.
We've already covered that.
Yes, I know, and so now I'm just getting back into it. Whereby I said about the depictions from the Bible. You see, I'll have to run by this again because that was on the last 5 minutes, and I don't want to bother
Well, I
having
can,
to
yeah.
edit
I mean,
that.
I can tell you, it was the Peter denial, and Judas was betraying, and one person comes across as one way, and then they're totally different. And this has happened in my life, in your life, and just for a certain small amount of money, like a shilling or two, Peter did what to Jesus, and how many times for me, just in the past 2 years, I've had my best friend completely betray me for like what you just said, nothing but a sexual favor or whatever it was, but definitely our friendship was not worth even the $100 she got in
Yes, and
return.
so then, what can we conclude from this, Rachel? What I conclude from this is that friendships invariably aren't worth having because you can have them for like
I
5,
don't
10,
conclude
20
from
years.
that, but yeah, I
Well, I
understand.
mean, look, at the end of the day, when you have friends and you do right by them and you invest energy into them, and then
Yeah,
one day they will do the dirty on you, like they will sleep with your wife, husband, partner, whatever, and
right.
then you'll look at that relationship and you go, hang on, what was going on here? For all those years, I was investing my energy into that person, and I was doing the good thing, only to discover that that person was the despicable creature in the end, and the true colours came through, and they deceived me. And so it makes you feel resentment, and it makes you feel then, well, fucking hell, who can I trust? And so therefore, I would suggest that we don't trust anybody, because at the end of the day,
Beautiful.
it's only a matter of time before they're going to let you down. And people can say, oh, I've been together for 15 years. Okay, tell me after the 16th year. Tell me after the 17th year. It's fucking coming. It's
Oh, of
coming. The
course.
deception's
But
coming.
look, my parents. Yeah, my parents were together for are together. It's 53 years. Grandparents were together for until the day they died, 76 years. And they died like a month apart. So, I mean, it's not that it's not possible. What it is I think it's our journey of ascension to get to the place where we find the beauty of it all and be able to detach enough from expectations, meaning, I love you right now. And you can do something tomorrow that will really hurt me. And I'll decide then if I'm able to go through it, if we're able to work through it through the communication rather than you're done, you're out, never speaking to you again, which is once again your choice or the person's choice. But for me and my own journey, it's healthiest to at least communicate about this. I've had a few people just disappear from my life and assume whatever they're going to assume, which is fine, but at least communicating about that is really important. And I think you've gotten across the idea that human beings are insufferable. I wouldn't say then don't have friendships. You were created on a planet with not animals but other people for a reason, probably for your own growth, because we have to deal. We didn't come to a planet that's perfect. We came to a planet that's very flawed, and it has a lot of shit to deal with in every way, including our own. So your choice is to look at it for what it is and go, this really sucks. This is shitty, but I'm going to find the beauty in it, just like you find the beauty in the foam in a wave, and you can look at the sand for 10 minutes and see all the beautiful popping of the foam. See, I watch your videos. But, it's also, can you find, and for your ascension, Aaron, I would say the next level would be, can you somehow find the same beauty? Because someone could look at that foam and go, that's fucking pollution. Some of those, like you were like, the rainbow colors. I'd be like, that's a fucking oil spill from Fukushima. Perspective, right? So
Yeah.
can you look at the flaws of friends or whoever is in your life or even betrayal? Can you look at that and say, and this is like one of my favorite phrases ever is, let me use Donald Trump as an example. This is,
I dreamt about him, by the way,
no,
twice
no,
last night.
you what? You dreamt about
I
him?
dreamt
Oh
about
God,
Trump, yeah.
that's awesome. Okay, well, there's some stuff there. He is, and it's just an example because most people don't like him, but put whatever person you want on this, but a perfect spiritual enlightened spirit, cleverly disguised as orange-headed buffoon who's an egomaniac, horrible human being who can barely speak the human English language, let alone any other kind of language. And he triggers all of us to either decide, are we going to give into the hate, how much I hate him, and talk about that? Are we going to reach inside of us and say, he's this, but therefore triggering something in me where I'm realizing I need to stand up for what I believe in because he's so what I don't believe in, that now what I do believe in has now come alive. And I think that when we get to that next place, wherever it is, when this is gone, and we talked about this before, Aaron, I'm going to see you. I'm going to see a bunch of other people. I'm going to see people that have betrayed me. I'm going to see people that I hate, that I don't talk to anymore, and Donald Trump. And they're just going to all give me a hug and go, what'd you think? Did I do good as a job? Did I do good as that role? This is a fucking play, Aaron. It's a play. Yeah. And so we're going to hug each other, and he's going to go, you bought it, didn't you? You really believed it. And instead of finding love, you went towards anger, fear, detachment, fuck everybody. You know what I mean?
Well,
this is the test.
Yeah,
this is
okay.
The test.
So what are we saying then? I mean, are you saying that all of the Trump haters out there should be finding love in Trump? Because
no,
well,
I should say what I'm saying is if you have any sense of enlightenment at all in any part of your journey, you'd realize it's not out there. So stop fucking pointing the finger. It's not out there. It's in here. And if you're experiencing a horrible man as he is in this reality that we live in, then what are you going to do with that? Because what you do with it is how it affects your existence and your reality. And although you can have a shitty experience, you can also make that into a beautiful one. The same way foam on the beach can be oil from Fukushima that killed millions of animals and is destroying our ocean, and you're looking at the rainbow colors in the foam. Same way, it's the same thing. It's just that's the micro, not the macro.
Yeah, it's all perception. You see, this whole thing about the colors of the rainbow in those bubbles,
which is beautiful, by the way. I'm using that as an example, Aaron.
I know, but
take that and use that with people.
Well, I mean, I think we have to use discernment, you see, because when I look at
where the excuses come.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
You're pointing outside, not inside.
Yeah, you see, if I look at the natural world and I see a rainbow in the sky, and I listen to or I read Isaac Newton, and he tells us that pure white light is in actual fact 6 other colors. Now, people say, there's 7 colors in the rainbow. Well, there's not. There's only 6. The extra one was added just because it matches the number 7, the magical number. So it's another deception. And so he said this himself. And so this is true. When you see these colors in a bead of dew on a glass, then it's got nothing to do with Fukushima. When you see these colors reflecting off a white porcelain sink in your bathroom, that's got nothing to do with Fukushima. And so the certain things that we concern about this world are real. And so therefore, once we've got a level of discernment, then we can take that on board and we can have a certain trust in it. Now, regarding the human being, we can say that, okay, we've come here to have this experience, and yeah, it's all a test, and you can go through your life and you can be tested, and you can say to yourself, this is God's will, or, it's testing my fortitude.
You're demeaning that whole experience of
we can look at the world as in a fantasy, Rachel. That's what I'm saying. And your fantasy is yours and mine's mine. And so we have a choice based on our experience. This is how it is, of course. And of course, the world is only a subjective one, and it derives out of the experiences that we've had. And my experience tells me that human beings are not to be trusted. I don't like the vast majority of them. I don't want anything to do with them. And so on the basis of that, why do I want to punish myself? Because I think that, when I'm dead, eventually, I'm going to be up in the fucking sky and I'm going to be hugging, all the cunts that have deceived me. Slept with my wife. Right. Like that.
But if you really even understand quantum physics, you realize we are all one mind separated into a million different pieces, and the yin and the yang, they have to exist for us to even see that there's a black or a white. And so it is a fucking play. This is the play that we're in, and whether or not this is a virtual play, we don't even know. This could be a simulation for all we know at this point. If you keep watching YouTube, you'll believe this is just all numbers and it's a game that someone else, which is now quantifiably possible. Okay, so
absolutely,
yeah. So if that's the case, why do you continue to bash people? Just go on. Like when someone goes to my Facebook page and they just out of the blue, they're just like, "You wrong, I'm like, when I look at someone's Facebook page for even a second, or YouTube or anything, and I don't agree with them, I move on. I'm bored with it. I don't have to stop and argue with them, because then you're just proving. So you just seem to go over and over and over and over again about the human. I don't know if you're trying to convince yourself or you're trying to just exacerbate the point, because I think you should move on to that next place you want to go to, because this does not do anything for your vibration or anyone's vibration as far as your assessment of humanity. We get it. I get it. Mine might be a little different because I'm absorbing it. And I also have the comedic thing, which thank God for stupidity, because it's the only way I can get comedy.
Well, I have the comedic thing in the sense that I'm in touch with the cosmic giggle, because all this stuff, it makes me laugh. And throughout the day, I can think of things and I just start to laugh to myself, because I know that it's all a farce. I know that it's all a play. I know it's all a hologram and all this sort of thing. And so I'm with you on that. But like you said, is well, instead of chewing on it and this, that, and the other, then
move on, because what's it doing to your vibration to continue to talk about it?
That then basically is the crux of the conversation that we started with the other video. I am moving on. I don't want to keep looking at people that are telling us where the human being derived from, and the Nephilim and the Anunnaki.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's shapeshifters that are in government, right. And Trump. I look at Trump, and Trump doesn't trigger me one iota. Now, the reason why probably he doesn't trigger me, for one of the reasons, because I don't have this collective consciousness of the American. Because the American has a very peculiar collective consciousness. And
well, it's not that. We have the idea that he might have something to say about anything that could do with the environment or animals. For me, the only reason he triggers me, I don't give a shit if he's fucked around on his wife, or he has no concept of how to even speak publicly, and he does the whole hypnosis, repeat the same thing over and over again. It could be his limited ability of English. But the thing that triggers me is that if I really believe that he does have the power to sign certain bills to save the animals that I know are dying off, which really connects with me, and that's what I care about, then yes, I'm angry that he just lifted the ban on elephant hunting in Africa, which means that now they really are going to disappear.
Okay, stop right now. Thank you very much.
Before we go any further, do you love me?
So what you've just said is you have just depicted...
if I believed he had that power. Yeah.
You see, what I'm doing is I'm going, the human beings are cunts. And you're going, oh, well, consider it all to be a play and this, that, and the other. And yet then you go and give a little recitation about...
Honey, I'm in the play. I'm full on in the play.
Yeah,
I see it's the play.
Why are you triggered about the persecution or the destruction of animals when they are only part of the hologram in any case?
Because I'm part of the hologram too, and I care in this.
Well, there's nothing to care about.
Well, no, I mean,
You see,
there
look,
is.
we can all refute the other person's perspective and current disposition.
Yeah.
What we have to do is we see. I've said it 1,000 times, Rachel. I don't believe anything I say because there's nothing to be said. There's nothing to be known. All we're doing here is actually we are partaking in a fantasy, in a dream, and so that's all I'm doing. At the end of the day, you see, if we don't speak, if I didn't speak, then then I would be completely and utterly isolated from the select few. So therefore, we do have to speak. We do have to engage to carry out this human experience. Because otherwise, then if we just go into the wilderness, then we're living with the animals. Then we're not being a human being, really, are we? We are becoming more like an animal. We're becoming separate from our species. And if you're separate from your species, then you are not experiencing what it is to be that variety of creature.
Well, absolutely, but you're saying that's exactly what you're going to do.
Yes, that's exactly what I do want to do, because I've realized at this stage now that
you can't do that. You're like, so put pause on that. I'm going to do that. I know you said you can't, but that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I mean,
talk about paradox, Aaron.
Yeah, exactly. A paradox. You see, I've done it. I've done it for 54 years, and so I know what it's about. And so if I go into, the relative wilderness or...
Well, you got the beard, then I would say keep growing the beard.
Yeah, keep growing the beard. Then I can experience that level of what it is to be. Because
you might blend right in.
If you detach yourself from humanity, then I think this is when you get in touch with the spirit yourself. And so this has to be true, because this is what all of the gurus have always said. They always have to have this period of isolation and solitude for growth. Thus spake Zarathustra. He went up to the mountains for 10 years.
I could not even say that name. I'm just impressed with the fact that you have that name down. Did you look that up, or did you just know it off the top of your head?
Well, I've read Nietzsche.
Well, that's an easy name, though. Say the other guy's name.
Zarathustra.
Yeah, see, couldn't do it. Okay, go on.
Okay, or Zoroastra. It's Iranian, Zarathustra, and Zoroastra is the Greek name for this.
Still good. Still something I couldn't say.
Philosopher, this man that incarnated into a god, whatever. Anyway, this is Nietzsche's work. Thus spake Zarathustra. We'll see what the principle of this book was, that this man was looking for enlightenment, and so he went up into the mountain for 10 years, and then he considered that he'd become a god. And so he thought, well, with all the wisdom that he's got now about the universe and everything, he'll come down and he'll impart it to man. And what happened is, when he came down and he started to mingle with his fellow man, he discovered that there's such an abomination that he despised absolutely everything that he discovered about them. And so this is along the line with my thinking. And thank you very much. Nietzsche was supposed to be a genius, and so I'll accept that fucking label, because that's my finalization on man. And I haven't had to go up to a mountain in solitude for 10 fucking years. I concluded that within a short period of time in my life, just by thinking about certain things. And so, look, if you look at the world, then you cannot deny this facet, this depiction, what Nietzsche portrays in just about all of his work. The human being is an abomination. Oh, okay, sometimes they can do good, and you can see good here and you can see good there, but my God, you have to look high and low for it. You really do have to look high and low. And so, it's horses for courses, Rachel. All I'm doing is I'm conveying my experience here, and you convey yours, and other people, if they've got a tongue, which is very, very few, will convey theirs. And so, we're all trying to work it through, aren't we?
Can you hear music?
Yeah.
I don't know where it's coming from.
Well, it's very faint. It's gone away now.
I just don't.
Maybe you've got something up on your top toolbar, which has just started to kick in and it's playing now.
Nothing is open on the sides. This is the weirdest thing in the world that this has started to play.
Well, you know what's weird also is that my phone, it keeps, over these last couple of days, it's making sounds that I've never heard before. And I look up the phone and there's no emails and there's no WhatsApps and there's nothing else. But my phone is making sounds. And so it tells me that thing is listening.
It's alive. It's alive.
It's got a mind of its fucking own. Yes. And so we need to be very, very careful of it. And so this is something that I don't want to live in the presence of this when it's listening to every goddamn word I say, Rachel.
I get that. And it's even more, I think what it's doing is it's making a very large amount of people want to just, I talked to even the AT&T operator, and at some point I just said, aren't you just sick of all this? Like, we started talking about the plans and the this and that. And she goes, I go, is there anywhere I can go where there is no 5G? Like, where could I go where I just don't, you guys don't have any service? Like, where could I go? She's like, there's maybe 2 places in the whole world at this point. And she goes, and I would like to go there. Like, even she wanted to leave to get away from it because we're bombarded and it's really affecting everyone's psyche and turning them into the worst version of themselves rather than the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. And so I'm feeling it, Rachel. And I said
I know you are.
In many videos, I said to people, I don't want to be like this. This isn't what I'm about. And what energy I am showing you now isn't the true energy of me. But what I'm doing is, you see, I'm using this particular energy as a tool because I want to bring around certain visions in people. I want to bring around certain intuitions or.
But you just said you didn't want to save people, so what does it matter?
This is what I was doing before. You know,
okay, yeah.
And so what I was doing, I was sifting out, wasn't I? And I'm bringing them into this new little clan. But this new little clan has fallen flat on its face as far as most people are concerned. The people that are involved in it now were the people that were involved in the other side. And so there's been no new manifestations. There's been no new people coming to the fucking promised land. And so therefore then, what's my promised land isn't other people's promised land. And so what I'm saying is now then, I've got a handful of friends and I will keep in touch with those friends. And I will set up a separate site of YouTube, and I'll put my videos up there of how I'm enjoying life in nature, and we can talk about things like that. But I'm really not interested in trying to solve the human problems anymore, because at the end of the day, whatever's my problem, whatever's your problem, isn't lots of other people's problems, evidently.
Yes.
And so therefore then, like you say, it's a projection. All we're doing is projecting. But that's part of what it is to be a human being. We're always going
to... And through those projections, if you can make sure that you don't get caught up in the projection, you see it's a projection, you own it, and then you say, okay, therefore, this projection has made me realize what I want more in my life or what I want less in my life, because I'm seeing that I'm doing this over here and it's not working. And so I'm going to, you know what I mean? And I don't think it means you're quitting. It's just a continuation of the same path on another level.
It's a continuation of my path, yes, on another level, perfectly. And how I akin it is,
good.
You see, in the tree of life, we start off, say, like as the trunk. And in our lives, we are presented with branches, and we go up one branch, and then we're presented with smaller branches, and we're presented with twigs. And now I'm at the position whereby I've gone right out into the smaller twigs, and so I've been presented again in my life with a fork in the road of which way I'm going to turn. And due to the assessment that I've made of myself, how I'm feeling as a spiritual person now, in these last few recent years, I've made decision that there's certain things that I don't want from this world. There's certain things that I do. And so therefore then it just makes perfect rational, logical sense to choose the things that you do want and leave you don't. And stop fighting the things that you don't, because
100%.
there's no change is ever going to be brought about.
No, I mean, that's what Abraham Hicks talks about all the time. I mean, she says in all of her videos that when there is no bad experience, it's only deciphering what's the path that's more in the flow for you.
Yes.
When you start to get into the flow and you're more familiar with the flow, it's even more obvious what's not in the flow.
And when you're in that flow, it is so simple.
Simple. It's simple.
I was going to speak with Patrick. Well, I wasn't going to speak, but I was speaking with Ira a couple of days ago, and I said I'm up for a chat with Patrick. Patrick was up for a chat with me, and so he contacted me yesterday, but I wasn't in that frame of mind because I was completely aloof. I was immersed in my music, in my training, in my meditation, in my nature, and I was absolutely free and content. And so I said to myself, well, why would I want to immerse myself into anything else? And you see, this is what I've been doing because I'm this Libran. I've been doing this beautifying myself and being in touch with the natural world, 50%. But then 50%, I come back and I punish myself. And I've been, been trying to raise the dead and all this sort of thing.
But here's the thing: it's not. I mean, once again, I do think that's your perspective, because I think when you say, like, other than when you and I get cut off a lot,
I'm still here.
I know, but other than that, it's not punishing yourself for us to have a conversation. It's not, punishing yourself. I know you can get the view of, because those were all your intentions on that conversation. That conversation's like, oh, that means I have to talk about this. And I don't want to talk about that because I'm feeling really good. And most of the time when you bring things up to talk about, you have to uncover this shit you've been going through, right? Mm-hmm. That's why I find myself when I'm going through the worst or a lot of stuff that I don't want to talk to anybody, I disappear. And that's because I need to deal with it, not talk about it. Because if I talk about it, it's almost like it births it again. And I'm just trying to
Right, well, that's a curious thing, because that's contrary to personal development, in that when people are depressed, then it is good to talk about it. And this is the whole premise.
To the right person.
Well, I don't know. I mean, but this is the whole premise.
You talk about it, you bring it up again, it becomes alive, and it's a whole, like, you got to talk with the right person. Because, Aaron, you talk to the wrong person, and this is what they do. Like, this is the worst thing. That they'll go, oh, Aaron, that sucks. That sucks. Your life sucks. Oh, my God, how do you do it? That sucks. And then I just go,
okay, but you could talk to me, you could talk to several of our community, but you don't. You, like you say, you go away. And this is why I level at you, that you are this satellite, and invariably these days that your orbit is getting wider and wider, and your visits are becoming less frequent. And so there's obviously been issues that you've been dealing with. And if you don't consider that you could speak to someone like me about them, someone really that's impartial.
Well, of course, I spoke to you about my last issue.
I'm not involved in your life. I don't know anybody that you're going to be speaking to.
No, I know. There's no risk.
I'm kind of like a therapist from that position, because people like to come to somebody that doesn't know their community.
Exactly.
And so it makes
it has nothing to do with that. Lately, it's been me literally trying to survive and get my nuts in a row, because if the show's pulled, which it looks like it might be, and I have nothing saved, I'm going to be in a really bad position. So I've been like really working it so hard. And then when I work it so hard, it's 4 or 5 days in front of 300 farmers that I have nothing in common with, making jokes and whatnot. And my only feedback was from the owner, who's a woman, saying my dress was too short. But everyone else had a great time. Reverse sexism, by the way. But the whole point is I get back from that and I need to sleep for 4 days, because I'm not the extrovert I used to be. I used to love that, and I do love it. But, 4 or 5 days in a row, and then even when you're off stage, you're still talking to people and all, like it's exhausting. And so I get back and I'm not used to it because I've been very lucky in the fact that I've only had to film once a month. So I have a lot of downtime, a lot of alone time, and I love it. So when I'm thrown back into that.
Exactly. This is what I've experienced, and I've expressed it lots of times. Initially,
And that's why I fall off the map, is because I need to, like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to just go in my bed. I want to read. I want to just get back to, I want to meditate. I want to just get back to balance with what I've just, because it's just, I put everything out there. And it's just like, I don't have any more out there to do. I have to go back in. And the older I get, the more I have to go back in to even get the gas to
and so this
survive.
is what I want to do now. I want to go in, because this inness is a beautiful place, isn't it?
It is.
You see, when you go out and you say it's exhausting, and then someone tells me my skirt's too short and this and that.
It's a whole fucking game. It's
flat,
ridiculous.
and then, my car needs oil and there's no gouges around. All this stuff. When you come in, that doesn't happen. As long as you've got peace of mind, as long as you're not a traumatized person, as long as you don't have this egoic mind running the show, then you come back to this and you know that this is where you want to be.
Exactly.
With the self. And so therefore then, yes, I mean, this is what I think the enlightened or awoken people, they really do want. It is, and it's the most simplest thing on the planet, but it's the most complex, because it's so hard to achieve. Because to achieve this level of solitude away from the matrix, you need to have been immersed in it for a good period of time to accumulate the earth coin, which buys your emancipation.
Yeah. And I will have to tell you, like, the happiest I've ever been in my life is when I was forced to be out there by the job that took me to places I wouldn't necessarily go on a map and go, I want to go there. I want to go to Borneo. No interest. But because of my job, that Animal Planet job I told you about, I was forced to go to Borneo and have these amazing experiences. And most of it wasn't with a lot of people. It was with the 5 members of our crew, like Gilligan's Island, with, all the time with the same people. And then with animals, and then with yourself most of the time. But the thing is that you have that kind of experience, and it forced me to be in different scenarios where I really was immersed in talking to people who knew about these animals, so that I got educated, and I also got to be in nature. Both of those things. Talking to someone smarter than me about something that I was fascinated about anyway. So, there's this woman in Australia that had a wombat farm. Like, who's got a wombat farm? Just hundreds of wombats. She slept with them in her bed. She had them in her house. Wombats. And it's like, I look at that and I go, this is just, where you could ever have that experience? It's so surreal, but it's natural. It's not a surreal, like, I was partying with Mick Jagger in this big house. No, it was like a woman that it's a hero. And for the nature world, she's a hero, because she's basically brought back a species that was almost extinct, and they're the sweetest creatures in the world. I never would have been able to be around them. And I'm just saying all of that because I wouldn't necessarily do that on my own, because I'm so happy being in my apartment when it's organized and I'm able to just go inside and meditate and all this stuff. And I need someone or something to push me there, because I'm also very at home there. But I do need that little jump start to get there, because it's not something that I would go, I gotta go check out Wombat Farm. I would have no interest in doing that.
Yes, and so
but then I'm there and I'm like, this is insanely perfect.
To go out of your comfort zone, because when you go out of your comfort zone, then you're presented with choices, and then you may discover that you've got choices that you would have never dreamed of having whilst you're in your comfort zone. And so this is a beautiful thing. And you see, this is what I've done all my life. I've always traveled, because whenever you travel and you don't have an agenda, then you look at the world about you and you see what's presented to you.
Completely.
And when I was in the Gambia, I just I hired a taxi driver for the whole duration I was there. I just said, well, okay, I've heard about this, take me there. Or what else is there to see? And let's go here. And then when we're on the way going somewhere, I see something and I go, what's that? And let's go and have a look at that. And I don't know whether you remember me shoveling sand in a huge sand pit with 100 huge lorries around. Do you remember that video?
No.
Okay, so what happened is that we was going along this long coastal road, and then all these old lorries carrying sand were passing, and I'm like, where are they taking that sand from? And then it's like, oh, well, one of the beaches up here, and they use this sand for the building. And I said, okay, that'll be interesting. Let me go and have a look. He says, why do you want to go there? It's just people digging sand. I said, because it's interesting, because this isn't, something that
what you would ever do, right?
In my culture, that's right. And so when I got there, it was absolutely incredible. It was a huge expanse, and the sand wasn't being extracted by big machines and diggers and anything. It was being extracted by shovels. And with each lorry, what you've got about 20 black folk in the oldest clothes you could ever imagine, hanging off their bodies, all laughing and having fun, filling these trucks with this sand, shovel by shovel. And I joined in, and I had a really great time. And I experienced people really, really enjoying their life. They were on good money, relatively good money. They're working all day out in the sun and physically fit and everything, all having a laugh, the banter.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. And it was one of the most paramount experiences I had in the Gambia. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have done it unless I got out my comfort zone. And I said, fuck it, let's just go somewhere.
Yes, that's it. It's just, let's go somewhere. And it just happens to, sometimes you just have to do that. And it will never, by the way, it will never make sense in your life. Your life will never be like, this fits. You going to Madagascar makes sense. It will never make sense. So you have to get that out of your head, that in your life, number one, you'll probably never be able to afford it. So get that out of your head, because there are ways to do it. And once you realize you travel, you meet somebody and you're not paying as much as you thought, because people, when they're traveling, they really do help each other, and people do love to show you their land. I mean, it's really different when you travel than it is, when your car breaks down 3 blocks down. Just people are more
and when you do a variety of travel which is kind of like Phileas Fogg, this fictitious character which was written about around the world in 80 days. Yeah, that sort of thing. Well, you just went to discover the world, to see what was out there. And so when you do this, then you meet all different sorts of characters and people doing the same sort of thing. If you opt for a package tour, that's all you're ever going to meet. You're going to meet beer swilling, chip munching gimps for the, and so what do you want? You see, whatever you choose.
Or adventure.
If you allow the universe to present you with choices,
then you're going to be living the alchemist.
Yes, because
for the Celestine prophecy, which will guide you to the right person for your lesson.
Yes, it seems that way. And so therefore you meet many, many very inspiring people. You'll have amazing experiences that you could never dream
even
of.
Imagine.
And if I recited this story like I just did about shoveling this sand in trucks, people go, "Oh, what's the big deal about that?"
Who wants to do
was
that?
Absolutely amazing. It was very satiating to my soul. That's what's the big deal about that. Seeing people that were really happy with what they were doing, Rachel. And that is a very, very rare thing indeed. And that is something that nobody would ever suggest that you could find in an African country. People absolutely in abject poverty.
Aaron, so many of them, even when I went to Tahiti for the first time and they could dive into the ocean just to eat, they weren't worried about money. Because if you knew that you could just jump into the lake and get the best salmon, nothing like going to the store except for you don't have to pay. You have that kind of freedom where you're not stuck to a job to pay for food that you get at a store, and you are that free and in touch with the land, and you've also built your own home. So if it falls, you build it again. You've
acquired a level of knowledge which enables you to harvest all that is around you in the natural world.
That
has to be the most gratifying.
It really is.
That's what a real human being is, Rachel.
It is. And I remember being there, my first travel show that I hosted, I thought to myself, this is way back in 2000 actually. But I remember it was my first real job, where I got to travel and host. We were in Tahiti, and I remember a moment where I had, first of all, they were laughing at Americans because they're just like, you guys, you have all this money and you come here and you think this is so brilliant and beautiful, but this is just the way we live. Like, and by the way, every man is so physically in shape and there's no gym. And they have tattoos, but their tattoos mean something like beautiful, symbolic. They're not like my bitch. They're like really, that's the first time I looked at tattoos. Like they're really beautiful. And these men in these loincloths climbing up, getting coconuts, all this shit. It's just like, and this guy diving in, and I had the best sushi out of the shell while I had my bathing suit on in the water. And I was just like, okay, you just speared a fish. I ate it. This is why your abundance is, you don't have to worry about the things that we have to worry about. But the point is, I was walking for a shot and I tripped and I fell on a bunch of black rocks. I didn't think anything of it, but it was coral. I was too young to know what coral was. If you trip on coral and it's embedded in your leg, and my knee blew up like this because it's a living species.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a rock. I just tripped. Don't worry about it. And of course, the islanders are like, oh. So one islander hands me a pill, which I didn't fucking take. I don't know what that pill is. I just was like, okay, thank you. No, it's going to start hallucinating right now. Then another islander said, don't take offense at this, but we have to do this because you get really infected. It's a live thing that you just fell on. And so I got one islander peeing on me, and the other one's climbing a tree, getting a coconut from me because he knows I'm in a lot of pain. Splits the coconut in half, comes down, I'm getting peed on, a big storm is coming over the ocean, and then it breaks and there's a rainbow, a guy peeing on me, and I'm sucking coconut, like coconut milk. My knee is bleeding like crazy, and I thought, once again, this is one of the most beautiful moments of my life.
Yeah, experiencing something
every sense of my body was feeling.
Yeah, alive. Something that is so surreal. And then you think to yourself, you say, this is what I've always contemplated. Whenever I've gone traveling, there are worlds within worlds. There are so many worlds to experience. And I found myself in many situations like yours, and you look at yourself and you absolutely absorb everything that's going on around you. And then you say to yourself, my God, this is going on here. And my life, I can picture myself, back in my home country doing my shit that I was doing there. That's going on. Only difference is the vast majority of the people I used to be mixing with think that's all that's going on because they've got no concept of that there's worlds within worlds, and you can experience something that's absolutely incredible. You can be in scenarios which are incredible that you couldn't even dream of, Rachel.
Well, and you can be, because when I went to travel my very first time when I was 19, I just graduated, I was 20, I just graduated college, and I said, I want to, before I get into the acting career and I won't want to leave, I want to just travel Europe until I run out of money. Wherever I am, I'll figure it out. And so I convinced a girlfriend of mine to come with me because she wanted a partner to move to LA. She's like, I want someone to move to LA with. I go, okay, travel Europe with me for 3 months. Just that was our little work visa from college thing. You get a temporary visa. So we traveled all over the place. And this British guy I waited on in Saugatuck, Michigan, where I live, he says, oh, love you. If you're coming, if you ever come into Britain, I'll totally hook you up. I mean, we'll just give me a butt. Give me a jingle. I said, I'm going to give you a jingle. Don't say that to me because I will actually call. Don't be nice right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a jingle and probably end up moving in with you. So what happened is poor thing, his name was Henry. Oh, I gave him a jingle because we ran out of money after we went to Paris and we went to Prague and we went to the south of Italy. I mean, we were everywhere. And then we ran out of money in England, and he lived in Woking in Surrey. So we moved. He had 2 bedrooms. We moved in with him, and I got 2 jobs just to make enough money to come back to America. And the one job was in a factory where I had to punch those little tags in the back of your shirt.
Yeah.
I did that from 9 to 5 for 2 months
Yeah.
every day.
Great job.
I know how your mind will go crazy. It's a good thing I memorized all the Rick Springfield songs. I sang them over and over again in my head because you gotta get by,
Yeah.
you know. And then I worked in a Kitty's clothes store, and then I also worked in a pub just to make enough money to come back here. But those 3 months were literally like a different world, a different universe. I fell in love with the bartender's son. You know, we had this like tumultuous relationship because he didn't like me at first, and it was just. And then I also experienced just being part of the community there for 3 months, and I was the local, American bartender. I mean, it was just so much fun. It was a simple life, and I also worked at a factory, and I loved it.
Spice of life, then. And
it
so
is.
get out of your comfort zones, and it's not all bad as long as you realise that it's a temporary thing. One of the things I wanted to do is when I come back from my Ghanaian exposition is I wanted to do the lowest of the low as far as jobs go, and so it turned out that it wasn't even the lowest of the low. But it was road sweeping, and so I got a job for an agency, road sweeping, and it was in the heart of winter, and it was freezing cold, and it was raining all the time, and you jump in a van, they take you to a location, and then you got so many streets to go down to for say like 3 hours, and then you have a break, and then you do it again, and you're sweeping up cigarette butts, and you're picking up beer bottles and spirit bottles and this sort of thing, you see, because and then what you do is you look at the dysfunctional society around you, and you realize how many people sit in doorways and on street corners drinking beer and spirits out of a brown paper bag, or just sitting on a park and discarding all of the bottles and tins because they have no regard for the society that they're disaffected from. And so it was a very important and transitional point during my life, whereby I thought I was low, and I thought to myself, well, I can come back out of my lowness, because my lowness basically was having my ego seriously questioned, and being threatened with losing everything I've ever worked for all my life. These guys that are sitting on these park benches, they ain't never coming out of it, Rachel. The chances are they're deep rooted in depression.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's going to be their lives until they demise. And so therefore then that job then taught me that I thought that I'd hit rock bottom, but I was so far above those guys.
Yeah, see, there's always, no matter how rich you are, there's always a lot richer, and no matter how poor you are, there's a lot worse. And
just to open your eyes and just to see
it, to experience it, so that you're not so much in your bubble. Because I find that whenever I travel, Aaron, if I'm feeling depressed about anything, if I leave this country and I really immerse myself with such new experiences that I'm stimulated by all the things I see, I get out of my head and I'm present. I wish we could do that. I mean, I'm trying to do that more in my everyday life, but God, if we could grasp that, it's just so exciting to be around a new environment that anything can happen. That's what it feels like. Anything can happen.
Yeah. And so this is
and
why
then it does,
yes, because something has to happen.
Yeah.
And whatever is going to happen is going to be entirely different to what's been happening in
exactly
the facility that you were previously
Even the nothingness is exciting.
Yeah, and so what I'm doing is then I'll be moving again, and I'll be moving 600 miles up towards, like I said, the Spanish border, and I will be checking into some accommodation, and the whole environment is going to be entirely different. Every single person I'm going to be meeting, I'm never going to have seen before in my life, and so I will be looking at myself as a new person. Invariably, I try not to take any of my mental baggage with me when I go to new places. I try to be completely open as much as you can, Rachel, carte blanche, and then when you meet people, you meet them on a completely new stance with no pretense and no judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way, then you take each scenario for what it is at that particular time. And this is something that you made reference to earlier on. And you said, well, okay, so if people are going to let you down, well, they may let you down, but just enjoy the presence with people. Okay. I enjoy the presence with people, but what my friends have leveled at me for many, many years, even the ones that have been as close to me as is possible, which in the early days wasn't very close, they'd always say to me that it doesn't matter, or doesn't seem to matter how long people have known you, there's certain parameters that you don't let people beyond. And I was like that because I was very, very reserved and cagey. But in recent times, I've been much more open because I wanted to see what people can offer. And I've allowed myself to be subject to what they do, you see, because...
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, if you open yourself up to people and you go, okay, show me yourself, then they do. And if you allow them to show facets of themselves and you accept it, and they'll keep showing you more and more and more.
Exactly.
Until ultimately, there's going to be something that they show you which maybe you don't like. And then,
but even that might be interesting. You know?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's always interesting. It's like my friend of 15 years that fucked off our friendship for like $1,500, and it's one of the most interesting things that's ever happened to me because it was so bizarre. But it's so deeply rooted in culture. You see, he is an Indian guy. And you take the Indian out of India, but you can't take India out of the Indian. And so their culture is all about money, nothing else at the end of the day. And so then you see the true colors, of any particular creature when you allow them that level of freedom.
It's true, and then that's always the risk. But I have found with the moments, the people up till the age I am now, almost 50, is that the ones that I did give the chance to, and I've been betrayed quite a few times at this point, but the ones that I opened up to, I've had better experiences than betrayed. Like I've had more good than bad experiences when I've allowed myself to open. And I now think I have a pretty strong intuition where I know if it's even worth my time.
Yeah.
And I think that comes with age, and you just go, okay, this would be worth pursuing. But I mean, even a few people, even fewer new friends, even one I met from Richie from Boston, we were texting. He's like, I really want to have an online chat with you, blah, 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 blah. And then some drama happened in the community that I have no control over. I don't even know what it was about. But I think he attached me with that because I wasn't even a part of it. I was not a part of it. But because I do Mandela Mondays, I think one of the guys on that show was, and now he doesn't speak to me. It's like we broke up, but we never dated. Like,
he thinks you're a shell.
I don't even know what he thinks. He won't tell me. And that's what my video was about today. Because my video was like, how do you just never speak to someone again? Like, I get it if you just met them or whatever, but it's like, I'm an honest person. So I'll just be like, hey, here's what's going on in my life. Or I just, I got a bad vibe, what I heard you said. Like, I'll just say it. But it's come to a point in our society where even, if you feel really close to someone, it's 1 out of 2 times they're just never going to speak to you again, and you won't know why.
Yeah, well, look at it from his perspective then. You are very familiar with him, and he doesn't know you from Adam. And so his loss is small.
He does know me from Adam. He's seen my show. He even told me he had a crush on me because he loved the videos I was doing. He wanted to interview me on his show, like the whole thing. And it just went from like that to nothing. And then I had to ask my friend Angela, who pays attention to all this YouTube crap. She was, it could be because blah, blah did a rebuttal video for Richie's, and then you're on the show that he does come on, and you know what I mean? Like, it's all, and I'm like, but he's smarter than that. Like, I don't have time to pay attention to all this YouTube drama. And it wasn't even a big deal. If I never speak to Richie again, it's fine. We're not like close friends, but we've been going back and forth, and I really did want to have a dialogue with him only for my entertainment, because I thought he'd be very interesting to see where that dialogue would go. And he's gone.
Well, at the end of the day,
he's gone, and he won't say why.
We can, project all these reasons onto somebody,
we'll
but
never
we've got
know.
no idea what's going on in their life, and so therefore it's a pointless endeavor.
Well, and that's the thing too, and I learned that. And for this, once again, this was my video tonight when I was folding laundry. I said, it's what a person believes about you and experiences about you. Like, there's somebody out there that literally thinks I'm a paid shill, and like I said to you, I would really, if you know anybody hiring, I'll be right there. I'll be a shill. I don't care, because ultimately this is all game anyway. But what am I shilling? I have no agenda. There's nothing interesting. But he experiences that of me. Like, I am that to him. I'm a shill. So I can't even defend myself, because that's what he'll believe. So it's kind of like this. I don't know, and I don't know if our show is picked up, and I don't know if this author who wants me to write a book for him is ever going to contact me again, even though he reached out to me. That's the messed up part. I'll reach out to you. I really want to write a book, blah, 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 blah. And then when I contact him, and then he's gone. But I was like, well, you reached out to me. This makes no sense.
Yeah. This is one of the things I've been contemplating of late. And you see, we can all have certain desires and fantasies about being chosen for this, and one of my flights of fantasy was that maybe somebody would be interested in me doing some sort of a nature program. Oh, I've seen,
sure.
somebody sent me this random video of you marveling at this and that. We've got like a 6-week thing that we want to do. We think like, you might
right,
be,
exactly.
sort of the guy for the job, so to speak. But you see, things like that have never, ever happened in my life. And if I look back, then nobody's ever come to me and gone, Aaron, here's something great that you'll love. No, nothing ever has happened like that. Nobody's ever laid anything on the table for me.
Well, because it
I've
doesn't
ever done,
happen.
Rachel,
right.
is born out of my desire.
Yes,
it's been my intention. And so therefore
yes.
then, what I do now is I look and I go, well, look, I'm 54 years old. Nobody has ever offered me these wonderful things that I fantasized about. So stop fucking doing it, Aaron. What has happened in your life, whatever you have achieved through true grit and concentrated intention. And if you don't have that level of concentrated intention and true grit now, then the chances are that nothing much is going to happen. But if you can find that you do have that, then you can then start to do something else with your life. And after all,
Absolutely.
Not that old. So therefore then, I think this is something that we can all take on board, people, that it is our intention that is going to make something manifest. And so therefore then, do less time fantasizing and do more time applying yourself.
Well, create the intention and doing it anyway. But what the irony was this, a very, very legitimate writing agency, literary agency, contacted my manager to then contact me and said, I've been following your career. You're too young to write a memoir, but now I have an idea that would be a great commercial success. This is my resume. And he did have a legit resume. And then he said, please contact me so we can do this. So I contact him and I say, hey, Frank. He goes, you want to go to lunch? I go, I'm in LA. He goes, oh, I'm in New York. And I'm thinking, if you even did any research on me, I don't live in New York. So then I'm thinking, please don't let this be some guy just wanting to hit on me, because he was a lot older. Wouldn't assume that. And then I said, okay, so Frank, what's your idea? That was his email. I didn't contact him. This was not my fantasy. This was his fantasy, although I would write a book. And he said, oh, I was going to just surf through some of your ideas. And I was like, your email said you had a specific idea that will be a commercial success now. You've been watching me for a while. Now, unless this was a cut and paste.
It's bait, wasn't it? It's bait.
Complete bait, but why?
Well, I mean, whatever the agenda is, it's bait.
Certainly wasn't to write a book.
And, you get these advertisements. Are you
But it
this?
wasn't
What
an
do you think about
advertisement. He
that?
was a
Would
real
you like to
deal.
earn this? Oh,
No, but he was, and Aaron and I think about that all the time, but he was a real deal. His agency was the real deal.
well,
But
okay
it's
then. Maybe he's
hard to
dead
get
now.
into it. Maybe he what?
Maybe he's dead.
He's not dead.
It's
He
possible.
messaged
You said he's
me.
really old. I think we can overthink things, Rachel, and
Oh,
this
he
is one of the.
messaged me back and he said, per our conversation, you were going to send me your ideas. And I said, yes, Frank, but per your email, it said you had an idea. I'm just wondering, I'll give you some ideas, but I don't want it to be off of what you said you had an idea and that never,
Yeah.
if you don't, that's fine. I just don't know why you said it. Like, if you had an idea, let me know. And then I call him. He goes, so what's your idea? Like, I felt like it was who's on first.
Yeah, that's right. And so like
And
you've
now
been
he's not calling me back.
you've been waiting to see if your show's going to get picked up. I don't know what this picking up means. Does it mean whether it's going to get rerun again or what?
Yeah, if I'm going to have a job, it's basically
Okay, and
does
so
SeaWorld
therefore you're
want to spend the money?
waiting. Well, I mean, you obviously doing other things in the interim. You're going
Yes,
for auditions,
lots.
and you've got your own little business of helping people
MCing
articulate
events
themselves
stuff. Yeah.
and that sort of thing. And so I think the thing is to do is to concentrate on something that you have an intention to do, and whatever is going to make manifest with anything else, then it will or it won't. But
Exactly.
to keep waiting on something and putting all your eggs in that basket, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and I've let that go already. Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm to the point where if you guys don't decide at this point, it's embarrassing for all of us. Like, I found out from the syndication company that they did want to pick us up for free. They
Right.
actually when they want to keep running the show, they just don't want to pay for it.
Well, that would be nice. Sure, I will have it for free.
So
Yeah.
no one would get paid. And, I do that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Unless you want to pay me for being a shill, I could, let me know.
Exactly. And so therefore then I think
I've let that go. I'm not attached to it at all. In fact, I really am to the point where I don't feel desperate about it. I feel sad for them because they just can't get their shit together. Because if they could commit to doing the show and making it a good thing for SeaWorld, because SeaWorld needs to be saved right now, and they could actually use me and use the show as a platform for the good they're doing with animals, it's an easy, obvious choice. And if they don't pick that, I believe they then go down. Then I don't want you. If you really don't pick us, I wouldn't want to be with you because you are not seeing the obvious, easy way to bring your reputation back from going under. The multi-billion-dollar company going under. You already have 2 shows that have been on the air for 5 years that have been nominated for Emmys and bring a lot of good attention to your company, and you can't see it.
well, I mean, they obviously can see something that you can't then, Rachel, because at the end of the day, there's too many fingers in these pies to ever know what their agenda is.
You're right.
And so, again, there's no point in considering it. This is the whole thing that you come upon time and time and time and time again. It's even if the simplest thing, even if you want to work out, like you are analysing your boyfriend, why does he do this? Why did he do that?
Right.
When you try to find those reasons, invariably you cannot.
You're right.
And
You're right.
even if he will say something, at the back of your mind is like, oh, that's bullshit. What? Isn't it? And so therefore it's a futile thing. And so I think the thing is to do is just to become self-centered and to look at yourself. What can you learn about yourself? Can you decipher any of your own bullshit? Can you try and find a way through this world? Can you open up more choices to yourself? This is what it's all about. It's to look very, very closely at what we are as this human being experience, and just go with that, because all the rest of the stuff is just abstract distraction.
And it's distraction and us projecting and making up something with something we don't know. We can at least get a good idea of us in the process and say, this is what I do know about me, and this is what I do like, and this is where I can go with this. And anything else is, hey, if you don't want to come on that journey with me, that's fine. it's hard not to write stories so we have control. I mean, isn't that life? What everyone wants to
Well,
do is
yes,
write
and
the story.
this is the propensity that the human being,
I mean, even in the conspiracy world, we want control because we know they lied. So
yeah,
then we need a story. You got to tell me something if that ain't true.
yeah.
If we didn't go to the moon, then tell me what the fuck, what, why, you know?
Well, you see, if you look at that, if you look at what the world is doing and what the world's telling you, all you got to do to get the answers to that is look what's going on inside your mind. How many times, and you'll be aware of this much more clearly when you're laying in bed, maybe when you are falling to sleep or something. If you look at the internal dialogue that you've got, you will invariably find yourself telling yourself a story.
Yeah.
You're not reciting something that happened. You are creating a story of something that didn't in actual fact happen. And you say to yourself, hang on, what the fuck? I've gone back 25 years to a scenario whereby I've just created a new outcome or an entirely different scenario. My mind is making up a story. And so if your mind is making up a story, your mind is consciousness. And so therefore then, if we just cut and paste that to the whole fucking world, that's all the human consciousness does.
Oh my God, that's all it is, Aaron. It's one big story.
One big collective consciousness.
Some stories we actually pay for to see. Some stories we go to the movie theater to see. At least, you know, you're getting...
Just telling stories. And it's very, very difficult to get away from. Even from your own mind, it's so difficult to escape that fantasy, that illusory projection, which is coming from where? You say to yourself, I don't want to think this. Why am I thinking about this person I knew all that time ago? This ridiculous scenario, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing that. Oh, and he said this, or she said that. For what? For what? Mind? What's the purpose? Please tell me. Wouldn't you be much better, you know, spending your energies on something that's conducive to me living a more fulfilled life instead of escaping into complete fantasy land? It's incredible, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I remember the smartest thing my friend ever said to me when I was dating this guy years ago. And she asked me, how did we meet? And he was sitting next to me, and I told her. And I told her the story. Like I always tell, we had our story. And then later she took me aside and she said, do you like that story? And it's funny that she said it like that. She's like, do you like that story? And I was like, it's what happened. She goes, that's your story of what happened.
Right.
You could tell a different story and it could still be true. Yeah. And it might be more empowering and make both of you look a little better. And I thought, wow, that's such a fascinating thing to say, because we could ask ourselves that in every situation we go through every day. Do you like this story? Do you like this story? I mean, you know what, Aaron, now even when I talk to my parents today, they go, what's going on? And I stop myself and I go, what story do I want to tell?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's a story anyway, but I want it to be the story that makes myself the hero and makes it more empowering, rather than, I didn't hear back from the show. We don't know if we're picked up. I said, you know what? I've got a lot of things ahead of me, and I can't wait to find out what the universe presents.
Yeah. And so then, let us look at a few scenarios. Depending on your disposition, at any time during the day, if your parent called you, say like at 7 a.m., you're not a morning person, and they pose the same question, then the answer will be very different as to whether they caught you at midday when you had a couple of cups of coffee and you've greeted the world.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Or whether they caught you at this particular time. You see, in the early evening, in the late evening time, what happens is a curious thing to our mind. It goes into a more negative realm. It starts off positive. This is generally speaking, the human mind, when it's refreshed from being asleep, it starts off positive. You get out of bed in the morning and you think, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. By the time you've got to the end of the day, you're thinking, I'm fucking knackered now, I can't bother to do anything. That idiot, if he says that to me again, I'm going to do this and do that. All this stuff's going on. And this is why we'll go to bed with these stories in our minds.
Yeah, true.
And so when we look at ourselves, then, when we look at what on earth is going on with this human experience, it's just so fallacious. It's so ridiculous. And just like you said, what fucking story do I want to tell now? Because if you ask me, Rachel, what's going on like you did, an hour later, then my story could be completely different. And this conversation could be completely different. I could have watched another video. I could have watched a David Attenborough video like I was going to. And all of a sudden, I'll be feeling in a great mood. And I'm going to be saying, oh, I'm going to go into nature. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Oh, that's fucking brilliant. You see what's happening?
I do. It's so true. It really is.
Speaking really is a futile endeavor because nothing's going to come out of it. All we're doing is making a story. We're just playing parts in our story. You may think, like I've seen in your face then, oh, something would come out of it. But you know what's coming out of it, Rachel? I mean, something's coming out.
I'll tell you what's coming out of it is word creates intent. I mean, intention goes to word. In the beginning was the word. The word was God, is God. Okay, now I'm not quoting the Bible because it's like the true, like it's like a Wikipedia, right? Mm-hmm. Wikipedia can have a lot of truth to it, but also men wrote it. So, but the reason I say the word is so important is because it's the only way that we can put our thoughts into reality. We have the intention and then we speak it. Our word is so powerful, Aaron, that if I just say, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, and I keep saying that out loud, our subconscious mind that we can't even comprehend the levels that it has, it hears that, doesn't know the difference that it's not a command. So that's why I do think our word is really important. And I think that the words that we have that are full of emotion is what does the creating a lot of times in our life. And so that's why the story is really important. And that story is out loud words. It is saying, even waking up in the morning and creating an intention saying, I can't wait today to see how the universe shows me miracles.
It isn't
and you look for them all day.
It isn't the story, but you're on the right tracks. It's the vibration. Because the vibration is what is going to make you healthy or make you sick. It's going to make you happy or it's going to make you depressed. And so this is the vibration which is going on in your body. This is what you are. This is all we are. We're energy. And the energy has a frequency. And depending on where we go, what we do, then our frequency is marginally changing. And so what we have to do is be very, very aware and tuned into this frequency.
That's right.
Like we've just discussed now about stories and all the bullshit that's going on in the Matrix, it doesn't really have anything of substance to do with our lives. It's our application of the vibration, and it's how we receive a vibration. Because you see, I can say to you, you're a fat bitch. And then, if you were insecure about yourself, Rachel, I mean, even though you're not, you'll look in the mirror and you go, well, that's completely illogical. How could Aaron ever say that? But if you was insecure, right, you'll be thinking about this for the rest of the day. You'll be thinking, am I fat? Actually, I'm a little bit fat. Oh, I've put on a couple of pounds around here. I shouldn't be drinking those fucking sugary coffee drinks. And you see how the mind then can take you and your physiology in a completely different direction. And that's words.
Absolutely, but that's your belief. That's how powerful words are, because if it takes you in that direction, it can also take you into a positive direction. If you say the words that you really truly believe, could be, they have to be believable to you. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wake up and go, today's going to be amazing and I'm going to have the best day ever. But if I said, I can't wait to find out how I'm going to be surprised with abundance in ways I won't even be able to think about right now. Like, I'll be surprised. A job will probably come out of left field that I've never even auditioned for. Like, I can't wait to find out how the universe is going to surprise me in really cool ways today. Then I'm looking for that, and that's the intention. If I'm looking for that, that's how you draw it to you. You draw it like a magnet.
You're open to all that stuff.
Exactly. But if you just say, I'm going out today and I feel like shit and I just got to get through the day,
yeah.
It's your story, but it's your story that the universe will say yes to. It'll always say yes. That's why you got to be careful what you say, because it'll go, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's obviously is incredible. And so if we look at our situations now, knowing all this, we look at the level of discourse that we've had, and the projections that we'd be having, particularly me starting off about the human being, then what do I want to create for my future?
Yeah.
If I have that born in mind. Well, you see, I know what I'm doing to my mind, and there's many facets within me that are vying for supremacy, like there are in other people. And I sincerely think the more wisdom you've gained, the more experience you've gained, the more intelligent you are, the more entities you actually have, because it's a separate entity that enables a person to climb a mountain. It's a separate entity that enables the person to play a piano and all these sorts of things. And so because this energy is that's what it is. It's an energy. You can call it an entity or you call it an energy, but it's a certain variety of energy. And if you are a pianist and you've just had a right good argument, with your lover or something, are you going to be able to play that beautiful piece?
I know, right?
Yeah, and so therefore that energy's gone, isn't it? Hang on, where's that energy gone? Why did it leave? Well, because your vibrations moved, and you have to be in a certain vibration if you're going to make certain creations. And so this is the whole thing about it. So what I've done is to myself is, because I'm quite dichotomous, and because I am the scales and I'm this balance thing, I like to put myself out of balance from time to time, because then it kind of coerces me into bringing the balance back. So I will say things to my viewers. I will throw shit out there, and I know I'm going to get this shit back, because what I want is I want that to reiterate and to rebolster what I want to do. And
I get that.
Yeah, exactly. And so all the stuff that I've been doing with my YouTube, and I've been shunning people away, and I've been absolutely blasé about psychedelics. What's been going on unconsciously, Rachel? Unconsciously, I've not been wanting to do it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't do psychedelics and have a YouTube channel and really commit to it and not think it's going to take you somewhere else. Why would something take you to the same place again and again and again?
Yeah, and so I think that my life now, this past 5 years, I've done it. I really am coming to this sort of finale in this episode of my life. I've done this bit. And so now I don't know. I have little idea what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be more pleasant, more blissful. I'm going to be more open to the world. Because I'm closing this facet. I'm tired of it, and at the end of the day, it's my creation, and I'm not happy with what I've created.
I love it. Well, no, I think that it's not that you're not happy with it. You just said, it
served its purpose. I was happy with it. I was happy with it for every single day I was doing it. But now it served its purpose, Rachel, and so then you move on.
Without judgment and saying, I didn't do it right or this or that. I'm to the place where I think when you get to a certain age, I'm too tired and old to judge myself anymore.
Yeah, or you could say you're too vital and you're too young to do that.
I'm too smart.
Yeah, too smart. Because isn't this the thing, you see? When we start to feel this certain beauty about the world, then of course we do feel younger, we do feel lighter, we do feel freer. And so therefore then, if you're going to be moving into a new arena whereby you want the world to be beautified, then of course you take that with you, because if you are carrying shit, it doesn't matter where you're going to be on the world, that's what you're going to be projecting.
Yes, exactly. No matter how you feel about this certain place, it'll be there. You take you wherever you go.
Yeah.
But when I say I'm tired of judging myself, or, I just finally got to a point where I was like, okay, it's been 22 years. I've been worried that after a job, I'll never work again. It's been 22 years where I thought I was too old. It's been 22 years where every single time. And you know what? The universe has always gone, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. You worked again. You worked again. How many times do I have to work again before I go, oh, I'll work again?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm tired of my story. I'm tired of my victim story. My victim story that's like, I'll never work again. It's exhausting. I feel depleted. I feel like I'm back at step one. And now I just look at it like, oh, so if you guys don't pick the show up, I'm going to be working over there.
Yeah, and so
Just not here.
yeah, just in brief then, Rachel. You see, I look around your apartment and it's so full of this and that, and it reminds me of the Jim Carrey film Dumb and Dumber, where they're on the road to take the suitcase back. You familiar with the film?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I watched that film like 30 times.
It's like, in my head, and it's funny.
And so that they've got a little bit of money left. They've got like a few dollars, $7 left.
Yeah.
And Carey goes into the supermarket, and you would think he's going to come out with like very, very basic essentials and filling foods and this, that, and the other. But he comes out with like, with a couple of windmills.
That's hysterical.
and like, you know, just one very, very small piece of food, you know, some sort of you know, dried beef, whatever they call it, and you know, that's gone in a second. But they've got these windmill things that they can hang out the window and, you know, goof around with. But when I look around your apartment, I see so many things that are superfluous to your life like that. And what you've done is, you see, you've become attached to them. And it's the attachment to these things in your surroundings.
I'm not attached to any of these fucking things. You can have them all.
Started self-finished. You see, you've got all this stuff around you, and it's all very nice, and your fairy lights and all the rest of the stuff.
Well, I take my fairy lights to hotels. I'll never forget them.
If you never worked again, and you didn't have that stuff, then I'm pretty sure you might just go, who gives a fuck? What difference is it going to make to my life? Because I don't need all this fucking crap. And I know.
And I lost everything in a fire. All of it went poof.
I know. So now you grab it all back. Grab.
I didn't grab anything back. I took things back very slowly. I painted a picture, 3 pictures. Everything in my apartment is homemade. Almost 90% of everything is homemade, not things I bought, except for that awesome couch, which I've had over 100 people from around the world sleep on. So that means something to me. So no, I don't know what you're seeing.
Okay. Okay. Let me go a little stage further then. You see, I was once like you, and I've been all around the world, and I've collected trinkets from all around the world, which had memories within them. You think they have memories within them because you project the memory onto them. And when
of course, but I could lose it tomorrow. But I don't have to lose it tomorrow because I live here. But if I didn't live here, I'd sell it all tomorrow. I'm not attached to anything. The only thing I love is this ring because it was taken off a man that I helped pass away, and even that. He's gone.
Okay, so
not gonna know.
If you're not attached to anything, then
I'm attached to my dog. That's the only thing I care about.
Right. Well, you could have your dog and be on benefit. So if you're not attached to anything, then why are you so afraid? And why have you been going on ever since our relationship started? Oh, my show's not been picked up yet. I mean, I must have heard it like you know, at least 100 times. So it's something that's very, very paramount in your psyche. It's something you're afraid of, and yet you're telling me you're not.
Well, yes, it's a pain in the fucking ass to move. I've moved like 16 times in my life, and I've hated every moment.
If you've not got nothing to move, it's a piece of piss. I can just move.
Even if you got something, because I would sell this stuff.
A fucking rucksack. That's
I would sell this stuff.
Okay.
That's a pain in the ass to sell the stuff. It's a pain to look where you're going to go next for a roof over your head. I'm not sleeping in my car.
Yeah.
So you have to find some place, and you can get rid of everything. It's still a fucking pain in the ass to move. And whether I live in a place that's this big with one item of clothing, it's still a pain in the fucking ass. It just is.
Okay, so what you're saying then, that your whole premise of fear, the show not being picked up, is all based on if my show doesn't get picked up, I'm going to have to move.
It's not moving that I'm afraid of. It's pretty much how can I continue to evolve doing what I love and making the same, if not more amount of money, because money's freedom and I'm not afraid of it. I will fucking make more money. I'm committed to making more money this year than I ever have because I want to travel more.
Well, okay.
I've been
Picture this
traveling
one
a
then.
lot.
Picture this then. If we're on the
Money
subject,
for me is traveling.
yeah. Picture this. If we're on the subject of evolving, if you lost everything like you did, and if you
Right.
accept that you lost everything, and you realize, Rachel, that you've gained everything, because
Yeah.
you look around yourself and you go, well, I've lost everything. I've not got all these pretty pictures and all these fairy lights all
No,
around.
it doesn't have
Oh,
anything
it's all
to do. It
gone.
doesn't
No.
mean to do with the place. It has to do with me not being able to make money doing what I love, which I have been.
Yeah,
That's what
make
I would
money, make
want.
money, make money. Okay, look, what
No,
Rachel,
survive doing what I love so I can travel and see the world.
look, I'm not
That's
beating up on you. All I'm doing is I'm looking at it from
yeah.
my perspective. And what I'm saying is, in my experience, the most evolved that I'd ever been was when I had nothing materially, Rachel, because when you have nothing materially, you've only got yourself. If you are of the disposition where you're going to start looking in at yourself, then you find that in actual fact, you've got everything because you are the fucking universe. And
Yeah,
when
and I
you
don't
know you're the universe, then all of the stuff around you, right, you
yes,
can't wait to get rid of that shit.
not to get rid of. I recreated a life I like even more. I had that lesson. I lost everything. I had it. It was great. It was a great lesson. I was homeless. I lost every single thing I ever had, every record, every album, every piece of clothing, every furniture,
But it's all
everything.
in here, so you didn't lose anything. It's
Exactly.
exactly all in
That's
there.
why I was featured on 2020 talking about that. I lost everything and I recreated it. You can recreate anything because abundance is in here. It's no longer out here. It's in here. You can recreate this and more. So
But you
you can
see, this is
have
this is the
abundance.
whole thing about it. It's a fallacy, losing things. You cannot lose anything that you never had, and
Yeah,
we've never had
that's
anything.
true.
We've never had anything. What you can do is you can discover what you have got, and that is your spirit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's where I'm
So
getting to.
therefore, you've not
Getting to
lost anything. All you've
yeah.
gained is an opportunity to find yourself.
Yes, exactly. And each job that goes away is another opportunity to evaluate your worth and to see,
Yeah.
where you're at and how attached are you to even a job. Because I booked a job this week and they want a certain, I said, no, I'm not doing it because my value is more than what you're willing to pay me. So I'm willing to have nothing over what you want to pay me, which is not even rent for a
Yeah.
year of a commercial. No, I'm saying no. And so instead of them saying, oh, well, we'll pay you more, they
Yeah.
said, oh, we'll recast other people at that price and see what we can get.
Yes, and the difficulty is, you see, I mean, you're in a realm whereby you are being evaluated because this is what the Matrix does. It puts a value on every single one of its
That's right.
chattels
That's
because we
right.
are chattels. And so therefore, from the offset, when we're born and our parents sign the birth certificate,
I know.
we are a chattel with a value, and the value at that stage is only potential. But then when we start to become taxpayers, then our value increases. And so this is what it is, Rachel. And so in America, and particularly everywhere you go, every job you apply for, there's an evaluation going on. Huh, how much value is this chattel?
Yep.
And you come out of it and you feel demeaned the vast majority of the times because they're
Yeah.
not considering that your value is the same value that you're considering, because
Right.
they're not looking at what your value
Yes.
is, Rachel.
Right.
They're looking at the value they're putting on your blonde hair, how tall you are, how skinny you are, how big your tits are, or how pleasant you come over in whatever. That's
Yes.
the superficial bullshit value, and you've bought into it. That's your business. You're in there. And so it's not the way, Rachel, but this is the
Yeah.
difficulty with the Matrix. We've got one foot in the fucker and, one foot out.
I know.
You can't emancipate yourself 100%. You cannot stand outside of the Matrix with 2 feet.
It's a difficult one. I mean, unless you create something of your own will, magically get funded and have enough money to never have to worry about that again, and then you're off doing what you want. But even then, even then, you hear people who've had money their whole entire life and they don't give a shit. They give it away because as long as I have enough money to travel, take care of my parents and my dog. And, if I had more money, it's the least thing. I never think about getting another place. I don't even own this place. I'm passing through and I got a roommate. I'm paying less in this place than I paid in any place I lived in California, ever.
Right. Here's the thing then, Rach. Now, when you started out and you had all the zest in the world for achieving what you wanted to achieve, how did you do that?
How or why did I have the zest, or how?
No, how did you achieve what you achieved? How you achieved it was everywhere you went on all this adventure stuff because that's where your heart was, and you was dealing with animals because that's where your heart was, and you took a camera around with you because that's what you wanted to do. And doing what your heart was telling you is the right thing to do, that ultimately is what placed you this position in the matrix. So
exactly.
Now is
and that, right.
Go back to doing that, because this is what I'm going back.
Yes, and exactly, Aaron, and that's why I'm doing YouTube videos for no reason, because the reason I was going to do them before is, how do I get paid? Well, who's going to see them? And no, it makes me happy just to do them.
So
I'm doing 1 year of doing them.
There is the reason. The reason is
that. It makes me happy. Yeah. It makes me happy just to do them, innerly fulfilled, right?
You see, look, I've got to pick up on this again, because this is how my mind works. And this is what people do as psychologists. They have to pay great attention to the language that people use. And you said what you've started to do now is you're doing videos for no reason. And what I am assessing... I
mean, no reason. When you say that in the business, you mean no reason that someone says...
Exactly. What I'm saying is you are considering that there's no reason to what you are doing if it isn't being paid, or if you don't want to be evaluated in some shape or form. But the point is, you see, when you're doing something from the heart, it's from the spiritual connotation, and that is the reason. It's the reason itself, because it's the expression. So therefore then we mustn't demean this most important stuff, what we do from the heart, Rachel, because your internal dialogue is just told you you're making videos for no reason. It's completely untrue.
Right. It's very untrue. And, for the past 2 days, I've been editing a parody, because I love comedy video. The comedy parodies I do, like the chemtrail video, and now I'm doing one on a clones by the Lionel Richie song, Hello, but it's my clone. And I have a girlfriend that's doing them with me. We have now, our band is called Honey Nut and Loops, and we're going to have a parody YouTube channel. And it is making me so happy. And I'm so excited. I spent all night editing it because it's so fucking funny. It's so funny. We really have this one down. And I was talking to someone at a restaurant the other night, went down the street, and he goes, so what are you doing this for? And I had to go, because I really love it, because I'm really good at it, because it's really funny, because it really fulfills me when I'm doing this. He was, so it's a hobby. I said, yeah, I guess it's a hobby, but it's something I can't not do. I love doing them. And, well, who's it for? I'm like, whoever wants to see it. It's for me, because while I'm doing it, I'm enjoying it. I'm having so much fun coming up with ideas and editing it and putting it together. I mean, I have so much fun. I had so much fun making it.
And so the whole thing then, from his angle, being, immersed in the matrix, then it's kind of like, well, if you're not getting paid for it, then there's no point to it. It's not for anybody. It's a non-entity. Well, this is the whole misconception, isn't it? And this is why the human being has gone so widely astray from himself, because there is no value on the actual spirit, on this universal thing that we consider is consciousness. That is the only purpose there is on this planet. And we've detached ourselves from it, and we've projected ourselves, and we think that we're the freaking movie projecting on the screen, when in actual fact we're the projector. And nobody ever looks at the projector, too busy looking at whatever's being projected. And
lost that.
It's all an illusion and a delusion. And so I can't help thinking, Rachel, that when you really work from the heart, then,
Yeah.
as you say, that's when you're going to build your universe. That's when you're going to build the universe you want. Because
And it might not come in a day, it might not come in a year, but no matter what, I'll feel fulfilled at the end of the day because I created something I'm happy with. And that makes me feel really good. And if you don't see it, you don't get the humor, that's not my fucking problem. Because I know for a fact what I know. This is like, I'm good at what I do, and I know this is good. And so many people don't do things because they think it has to be in their niche. They have to be paid for. What if people just did things because they really, really liked to do it?
Exactly. Just do it
That's
because it is from your heart, and then whatever makes manifest in the matrixial world makes manifest. You see, because if we're always concentrating on what other people are going to be thinking, then
exactly
what we're doing is we're carrying our own judgment, aren't we? We're inventing how other people are going to be judging us, and this is just the ridiculous, superfluous thing that our minds do when we go to bed at night and we're creating bullshit.
Well, it's not
stories.
just that, Aaron. It's also we're going to be judging like, well, how will I be making money on that? And how will it be my niche? Like, is this my niche? Am I the animal girl? I should be doing videos about animals because then you can really start to you could be the sponsor of Animal and then they could give you money because you're the animal girl. But that doesn't motivate me. And I do love animals, but what motivates me is comedy. And I got to go with that right now. It's just, and authenticity, those two things. Comedy and authenticity. And the YouTube videos I've been doing is what I told you I was going to do a year and a half ago, which is just me talking, just like we're talking. Nothing else. I'm just talking. I don't have an agenda. I don't have a performance. Nothing. I'm literally just talking. And it does feel good, and it is authentic, and it's something that I'm doing for me because I need to exercise my authenticity. And I've been watching you do it for a year, and it's helped sort of sharpen the knife for me to go, okay, I wonder what this feels like. Let me try,
Exactly.
And now I'm doing it, and I think it's helping me discover another part of me that needs to have a voice.
Yeah, and so what it does is, and I obviously am a prime example of this. I've been expressing my evolution for this past 5 years, and you could say that certain facets of it were devolution, and I'll be first to agree with that because I believe that we've got to go maybe like one step forward to go
one step forward, two step backs. Yeah,
forward. One step backwards to go 2 steps forward. Yeah,
yeah,
and so. But by the time this period of evolution's over, it's over because you've got the message, and so you hang up the phone. And it seems to me that because I said from the beginning, I was never in it for the money, and it was only in the latter part where I wanted to see if I'd made an impression on anybody, and I wanted to know who they were, and that's why then I thought, well, I'll test that then, because everybody could say, oh yeah, I love your stuff, Aaron. Well, how many people would be prepared to come and listen to me standing out in the rain, for instance, Rachel? Oh, fuck it. Right. I'm not going out to listen to Aaron speaking in the rain. Well, I'll rest my case then. There's no value, you see, because you're so easily just gone to somebody else. There's no loyalty. There's nothing really that you're deriving from me that you think you can't get from somewhere else. So what I wanted to attract the people to me that knew they couldn't get it from anybody else because they liked my particular deliver and the whole package.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I've done, and I've said many occasions that the friends I've made now are enough. I'm not the sort of person, Rachel, that can have a great amount
of million friends. Yeah,
I just don't have the time and the energy for it. And so, in my heart of hearts, I know that I've achieved my goal. And so, therefore, then I'm cutting from this particular path, and I'm going on another one. And I will be keeping in touch through whatever means, maybe just like I say, a new YouTube channel, which is just me sitting in a plaza observing the world, getting back to what I was doing before, getting back to what attracted people to me initially.
Yeah, and I don't think that it'll find its voice. It'll be a different voice, and it'll be the same through line.
Through line.
Yeah, it's kind of, it'll be a different voice, but the same through line, meaning the same bass,
Yeah.
but different notes.
And so with you, you see, what your forte is and what your passion is, like you say, it's your quirky nature, it's your disposition,
Yes.
it's the individual way that you look at the world, because that is individual. People can't get that from
Mhm.
anybody else. So
Right.
therefore then, instead of, you know, I don't want to say it like this, but selling yourself short, you know, by going to these bullshit fucking things that, of course, we
I
have to
know.
do.
I know. I know. I know.
Be
It
true to
does feel like that,
yourself,
though.
Rachel.
Yep.
Say what the fuck you want to say. Do what the
Yep.
fuck you want to do. And if nobody doesn't fucking like it, then who gives a fuck? Because you're doing it, it's satiating your soul. And
Well,
so,
this is the first time I felt me being able to be authentic, even though it's just on YouTube. It has given me a voice that I've never been able to have before, because before I was the voice of the teleprompter and I can read the teleprompter and look really good when I'm doing it, but it's not my words. I only had my words on stage when I would do comedy, but then they had to be jokes. So it was my words, but it was forced to be like funny.
yeah, there's a certain
Really
complicity
fun.
that
There's
you've
a
got to
sense
do
of
when you stand on a stage in a
exactly.
comedy show.
But when you just sit and talk and you're being totally authentic, I've never ever put that person out there in the world before. In the world. I
Yes.
did with you, but I've never put it out there by myself. And with no intention of an agenda, making money, getting followers. I don't care. I don't have any of that agenda. I'm doing it because my soul, I know my soul needs this lesson.
Yeah.
How to be authentic in the world.
Yeah. And to be free and to
And
express
to
yourself.
trust that that's going to be enough and that's not going to be boring and that you're still like, you don't have to be funny or this or that. You can just be you, put it out there. And it actually is, I'm finding out, although there's assholes wherever you go, it's resonating with way more people than I thought.
Yeah, because the authenticity and
It's it.
yeah, I mean it's a difficult one because people, I don't know how many people can recognize authenticity these days. I don't know how many people
People are
will allow.
yearning for it. They're starving for it. I don't know if they can
Well,
recognize it, but they are hungry for it.
yeah, I mean, granted, with my select viewers, they appreciate my authenticity.
Yes.
But the authenticity, you know, my 15,000 subscribers over 5 years was
I know.
minuscule compared to something more conventional. You know,
Yeah, well,
peace and love.
subscribers are not
Peace and
just like
love.
friends
You
are
know,
not.
they've got millions of subscribers because
Exactly.
they want to perpetuate the fantasy in the bubble that they're living with. They don't want to look at themselves. And just like Jung says, it's the last thing the human being is ever going to want to do.
It's
And
like
the only reason that they're going to do it is because they've got nowhere else to go. You know, if they
yeah,
are...
that's right.
If they are absolutely forced into being presented with their shadow, their darker side, they'll look at it.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
But it takes a very strong person to volunteer to do that. Just so that I look at it like we're got to do it anyway. I might as well do it without the pain and trauma. I might as well do it consciously than unconsciously because it's going to happen.
And you see, you
have
can
to do
look,
it anyway.
like you do, all this stuff from a humor perspective.
Yeah.
And so, whereas I look at this stuff from a psychoanalytical perspective, you can deal with exact same subjects, only you can make it lighter and fun.
Yeah. Thank God, because otherwise I think I would jump off a bridge if I didn't have that. I don't know what I do because I know people, I've seen people with that sense of humor, and I'm just like, I can understand why people kill themselves. If I didn't have my sense of humor, I don't know. I just don't, I really do now realize it's a gift, not an egoic gift, like I can make people laugh, a gift because I can make myself laugh in situations that most people would be traumatized over. And I can be like, this is a very interesting situation.
Yeah, and
That was
the
my
thing
Jimmy
is,
Stewart
you
impression.
see, I don't know whether you remember that in one of my videos of recent times, I said that I think it was the video you commented on. You said you liked it because you had some sort of affinity to it. I said that when we become older, we really need to become masochists, because if we don't become masochists and don't enjoy the pain of our age, then the alternative is to become bitter. So therefore then we become masochists and we enjoy the pain, and that way we live lighter and we just laugh at it. And so where I get my humor from is from the cosmic giggle, by doing things, looking at the world like that, because the world is in actual fact a humorous thing. In the deep root of everywhere you look for, there's a humor there. Even in quantum physics, the humor is, now you see us, now you don't.
You don't. I know, right?
Do you get it?
Yes.
Are we funny? You think you can see us, but now you can't. And this is the whole
Hear
thing.
the fear? Now it's gone.
Yeah. When you take DMT, it mocks the human being.
Does.
It mocks the ridiculousness. And this is why I mentioned the potato peeling thing. Potato peelers. Because when you come out of a DMT trip back into this trip, you just realize that everything we're doing is ridiculous. The true essence of ourselves isn't being capitalized on. We're too immersed into the matrix. And that's what they mock.
Yep. And once we're able to see that, at least step back from it and laugh at it a little bit and just smile and say, even to ourselves, I'm so ridiculous. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I thought that.
Laugh at yourself, because when you laugh at yourself, then you're laughing at yourself. And so when you have a cosmic giggle, you're laughing at the cosmos. The cosmos is you. And so what you've done is you're laughing at the absurdity of creating something that is, you wanted to create to bemuse you, to bluff you, to beguile you. And you just go, fuck you now. Why did I do this? Why did I opt for that? But how many times do we do this in our lives? We create scenarios for ourselves to experience when we just think like, oh, do I really want to do this? But of course, there is a part of us that does want to do it because it wants that experience.
100%. Even subconsciously, we create those lessons for us.
Yeah.
Because we know we need them.
Yeah. And then, so this kind of like cosmic giggle thing, this laughing, this mocking that is out there somewhere all the time. When you get in touch with the awareness of it, you know it's just a joke. And so therefore then, be immersed in the cosmic giggle and just enjoy it. Just enjoy the paradox and the fallacy of everything, what it is to be.
Even when you're watching yourself be worried, even when you're watching yourself, I can't go to sleep, just be the observer and go, isn't this interesting?
Yeah.
You're allowing this. Like, isn't this interesting? And also experiment. Use yourself like we are as an experiment. We're saying, you know what, I'm going to experiment. I'm going to be authentic in some YouTube videos. Just see how that makes me feel. I'm experimenting with this part of my personality because I've had it exercised through you and a few other people in my life. Now let me just bring it to life more, because the more I bring it to life, the more I think it's a good thing for me. It's a healthy thing.
Yeah.
And maybe before I go to sleep, tell myself, you can have amazing dreams tonight, or just experiment with certain things that you deal with and then write it out. Just like you're your own guinea pig.
Yeah. Just look at the mind and go, interesting. You see,
right.
When you get into this level of cognition and this level of personal development, then you are not the ego thing. You see,
right.
People have an issue, and I've often spoken about my daughter, and she says she's got these incessant thoughts and this, that, and the other, and I can't express to her deeply enough for her to gather it that is not you. Excuse me.
I know.
There's a misconception going on there. You think that's you. That isn't you. You don't know you. I'd like to get you to meet you. When you meet you, that you look at this egoic fucking bullshit that's going round and round and round, and that's when you laugh. Because you go, fucking hell, you had me fooled for 30 years of my life or this, that and the other. Now I know you. I've got the measure of you. You're a joke. But you're an interesting joke.
Exactly.
And so then you partake in it and you know what to believe and not what to believe. And you know what to go with and not what to go with. And you accept then that you are along for the ride. Because this ego thing, this body thing, this is the car on the roller coaster ride, isn't it? And so the spirit, the avatar, the experiencer is within the car.
Absolutely.
And this is something that's so difficult to convey to the masses.
No, it takes, you can't be angry at a kindergartner that doesn't know, that doesn't know history or doesn't know the next level of math. It's like they're there. And I do believe there are young souls that it's just not their time. And maybe we were there at some point, but I know I have a lot more to learn. So it's patience with the sleepers, the sleepwalkers. It's being patient and saying maybe it's not their time to wake up. This is their journey, and they're on this is their early part of their journey. And then the ones that are just ready to maybe might hear something or see something that we do, and then, well, like you said, it's not our responsibility to wake them up, because ultimately we're still on our journey to wake up, or we probably wouldn't be here. There's still more things for us to learn, even through, if we think we're teaching others, most of the time I find out that's when I'm learning the most. When I think I'm teaching is when I need to be learning.
Absolutely. And this is all I've been doing. I've been, again, the paradox. I've been saying things. And when I've watched these videos back, particularly if I watch the videos back several weeks or months after, I go, is that me? How did I know that stuff?
Right.
Because it seems new to me now. It seems that I've got to watch myself for the penny to drop. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? I said it. I must know it. And yet I'm looking at Aaron on the screen like this. No shit. You're joking. Wow, that's interesting. How is it people don't find this interesting? It's a blast. You see what it is, and it gets curiouser and curiouser. For me, it gets more in the realms of solipsism, because I know that this is a projection, and I know that everything I'm doing is the projection. And why am I projecting it? Because I'm creating my story. Because if I don't project all this stuff, there's nothing to propel me on to do something else, unless I'm going to be completely manipulated by external forces. And I'm not about to do that. I've never been about to do that. I will never be manipulated by external forces, to my knowledge, unless I want to go along for the ride to a certain period. And so therefore then, is it not what we're doing, Rachel? Are you there? You've gone. Well, alrighty then.